Hi everyone, I'm April, and you're watching the Tangled Cat Speaks, and this is a crafting edition. So it's been a month plus a couple of days. So I do have quite a few finished objects to share with you. One of them I've already given away, so I don't have it with me, but I do have pictures. So let's go ahead and talk about my finished objects. The first one is going to be this scarf that I talked about the last time. I was just starting it, and this was it's crocheted using an E-hook, which I think is maybe a 3.5 millimeter, can't remember. But this was Louisa Harding's cotton and acrylic blend called Giardino, and I don't remember the name of the colorway, but gosh, I love it. Now I had bought 2 balls of this at a cute little new knitting yarn store here in Albuquerque, and it's called Mariposa Yarns. And I bought 2 thinking, oh, they're kind of small, it's DK weight, I'm gonna need 2 balls for something. So I got 2 balls, but this scarf ended up being rather long. I made it kind of narrow. I like sort of narrower scarves, and that way I can make them long, and then I can wear it just long and hanging down, and in this case I can hold it in half and then just kind of stick the ends through the loop and kind of wear it like that. Different ways, but I loved the colors on this because it's just none of the colors ever actually, I never found an actual repeat. It's just all completely random, and I love that. So this is just a pattern that I kind of came up with while I was sitting in a parking lot one day waiting for stuff, and I tried a couple of other patterns, but I didn't like them. They were some free patterns that I found. I'm not even going to name them, but I just didn't like how it was working with this yarn. So I ended up just playing around with stitches, and this is what I ended up coming up with. And it was very easy. After the first couple of rows, it ends up being like that's actually upside down. It ends up being like a 2-row repeat. Very easy to memorize, very easy to do. I didn't write it down, but there may be a written version of that somewhere, but I'm sure I didn't just invent something new, because that would be crazy. But it was something that I did come up with on my own, just based on my own knowledge of crochet stitches. So I love that, and it's super pretty. So what did I do with the second ball? Now this is the project that I no longer have because I did give it away. This is a sun hat, and I ended up giving this to my son. He likes going to raves and I don't know what they're called, like electronic music with all the lasers, those kinds of things. Like there's festivals and stuff, and they like to dress up and do stuff. And so it was the same exact color as that scarf, and I ended up making a sun hat. I will have to put the name for you up here and the designer. Actually, no, it's called There'll Be Roses. I believe that's the name of the hat, There'll Be Roses. And he saw me making it, and he liked it, so I ended up giving it to him. I was going to make one for myself, but I decided I like it, and it's super pretty, and I would like to have one, but I know I won't wear it because I'm just not a hat person. But it's super cute, and I still may end up getting another ball at some point and making one for myself because it's super cute. But here's a picture of him wearing it, and I love it. It looks so good, and it's so fun, bright, beautiful colors. So I'm glad he likes it, and that is the second finished object that I did. Now the third was kind of I should be getting to all of my whips that I've been trying to do, because I was doing the Passionate Spinners little hashtag 23 in 23 to get 23 old whips done in the year within the year of 2023, and I think I've got 4. I've done 4 so far, so who knows if I'm going to finish that. But I went ahead and started some new projects because that's what I do. And I wanted to get started on Christmas. So I made these. Now this yarn here, I bought a long time ago, and it was called Nutcracker. That was the colorway, and it's by Tippy Tree Yarns, and it's on a sparkle base. I don't know if you can see the sparkles there. And then this green was from something, I don't remember. It was an old leftover ball. I want to say it was a Pandia's Jewels mini, but I can't be certain. But it was the same type of base, and it also has the sparkle. And I thought it went really well to make that Christmassy look. And I just did my regular construction for myself. It was top down, 2x2 rib, stockinette, 64 stitches around. I did the heel flap and gusset. I didn't do the eye of partridge because I didn't think it was really going to be too noticeable because this yarn is so dark. So I just went ahead and did the regular slip stitch heel. And then I did the rounded toe that I have become very fond of. It's a very easy and memorizable, and I already know exactly how many rows I need for my own foot. So that's that pair of socks. Now I do have yarn already picked for each of my kids, so I'm gonna slowly make those as time moves on. I really need to start now because I always forget, and then at the last minute there it is November and I'm like, I'm not gonna have time to make everything. So I'm getting started early on those. Now, oh well, this is another thing that I finished. This here is called The Simplest Shrug, and I'll have to put the name of the designer up here as well. Now this particular pattern, if I remember correctly, only came in one size. So I had to modify it for length because this is basically a rectangle with some different ways of increasing it. So it's kind of like it starts at a rectangle, then it gets wider and wider towards the middle, and then, you know, the other end it starts decreasing back. So there's some texture stitches here. This is a moss stitch. This is stockinette. We got some eyelets. And then the rectangle is just sewn up from the cuff to under your arm. And I did a good job this time. Oh my gosh, I did such a good job on my mattress stitch. I was so happy because the last time I did mattress stitch was, I can't remember the name of it, but it was the bright cardigan that I made. It was a drops pattern, and I hated it because the sleeves just didn't work. So I had to modify the sleeves, but my mistake was, like, the pattern was bad in a few different ways, but my mistake was when I was modifying the sleeves, I didn't want to do them the way that they said, so I changed things, and I was slipping the stitches at the beginning of every row. And I think that is why I had a hard, after I mattress stitched, I ended up with a lot of gaps. That's my guess. I'm not positive, but that's my guess. And this one, I did not slip the stitches at the beginning of the rows. So either that or I just got better at mattress stitching. I don't know, but you can hardly even see where I did it, and I am super pleased. Got some 2x2 ribbing down here. It was super easy, but I did have to modify it. Like I said, where did I do with that paper? To modify it for length because it's for a smaller size, and my back was a little bit wider than what they were calling for. Like my measurement across my back. So I used the same principles and the same width numbers, like from here to the middle of my back. Those same numbers, like the stitch count was kept the same as what they had. I just was adding rows to make up for myself. So I ended up writing all kinds of stuff down and marking off the rows so that I wouldn't get lost. And I think I want to type this up cleaner so that I can keep it as a reference for myself, because I do want to make another one, maybe a couple more, maybe a gray, and I think I would like one in black. I have some acrylic worsted weight yarns, because this was the yarn that I used was a DK, but I have some light worsted that I could use in an acrylic that I think would be just great, because this doesn't need a whole lot of blocking. So I think the acrylic yarn will be great. I have just a whole lot of just plain colors just sitting around. So I want to type this up so that I can have it for my reference and make some more, because it was super easy. It was super relaxing to make, and I enjoyed the outcome. Now the only thing about this is, because this is cotton, this is Hobie 8/6 cotton. It's their rainbow base. 8/6 is the size, I guess. And this is, it doesn't have give because it's cotton. It doesn't have elasticity to it. So, and I knew that was going to happen. So I sewed it up to where I thought it needed to be up under the sleeves. And then I wore it for an entire day, and it did get looser and looser, and before I knew it, it was kind of hanging off. Sorry, I have like a little bit of sunburn going on. We went to the pool yesterday, my daughter and I, and she got kind of burned all over. Didn't even think we were out there that long, but you know, that New Mexico sun gets you. But I have like a pretty decent sized spot right here. Anyway, I had worn this for a whole day at work, and before I knew it, it was sliding off. And I figured that, I like I said, it doesn't really need blocking, but I knew that it was going to stretch because cotton. So all I need to do is go back and add a few more stitches on either side, and that will keep it so that it stays up. So I'm not even worried about that. I knew that was a possibility, and I was expecting it, and I do have, I don't know what I did with it right now. It's not right in my face, but I do have a little ball, enough left to be able to sew that part up. So super excited about that. And that is all of the finished objects. But I do have a couple of whips. So this one, I don't remember the name of it, but this is a crochet pattern. I'm doing it on an N hook, which is, no, I'm lying. It's a K hook, which is a 6.5 millimeter. I've got these worsted weight cakes that I started up. Now what this was is 3 sets of, it was Karen brand, and they kind of, I've had these for a couple of years now, but they kind of partnered with Pantone, you know, the people who decide, you know, colors and color names and stuff. They partnered with, it was Pantone and Karen got together, and they made these real pretty color palettes, and they were these the whole set was 100 grams, but it was minis of, I think, 3 different sets, all different colors. Some of the colors were repeated in some of the sets, but for the most part they were all different colors. So I went through and pulled out 14 and separated them. So I've got 7 here, 7 here. Now I ended up with 2 of these peaches and 2 whites. Then I've got, it looks like kind of one color, but it's more of a gradient. There's 3 different shades of like tans and taupes in here. It's kind of hard to see on camera. Like there's one, there's another one, and then there's more of a yellowy one here. So there was 7 there. And then I've got purple, there's a navy, there's 2 shades of this teal, one slightly greener than the other. Got an olive, and it's hard to see because it's hidden, but there's like a minty green in there, and then there's this icy grayish green. And then I had one left, and then it's this like russet color, like a russet brown. So what I'm doing in this, I don't, like I said, I'm gonna have to show you the, whatchamacallit, the pattern on Name and Designer. But these were the palettes. They came with cards, just like when you go to a paint store. That's probably why I bought it, because I was like, oh, that's fun. Upside down. Are they all upside down? There, that's the right side up. So the colorways that I had gotten were Little Bud, and you can see these are the colors here. And then this was Party Favor. And then this last one was Morning Dew. But I rearranged all the colors to come up with these cakes. And this pattern, what it does is it's crocheted, and it started from one end. And then within this stitch combination, you alternate one ball with the other, back and forth. And so eventually I'm going to get past the purple and past the white, and it's going to, the other colors are going to start coming into play. It's going to be kind of like a blocked color, but some of them are going to blend into each other. I'm going to just let the colors change as they come, even if it's in the middle of a row. I'm not going to worry about, you know, making it all the way to the end of the row before I change colors. So I'm just going to let it do what it wants. And then this color is going to be at the very, very end to like just the last row, I think. I'm not going to have any other thing to pair it with, I don't think. So that's that, and it's so squishy the way the stitches, because this is a worsted weight, but it's not very dense. You do have to make sure, the pattern says you do have to make sure to use a hook that is a little bit bigger than what you would normally use for this yarn, because this stitch combination does pull in kind of tight. So so I picked the right size needle for my liking, and that ended up being the K, and I'm super excited to get on with that. And it's really easily memorizable, so I don't have to think about it too much while I'm working it. Once you start being able to read where you are in the stitches, then it's becomes so easy. So that's the first whip. My second whip is another new one. Now, I have been using my leftovers, putting them in a kind of like a memory cozy or cozy memories blanket, where it's the little tiny mitered squares, and you just keep adding and adding and adding. Mine isn't that pattern though, of the one that I found, and I found this, I think, even before that pattern came out, if I remember correctly. But it was called, I think it's Knitted Patchwork Recipe, something like that. And I'll put the name of the designer up here. But I think that was like 2017 that I started it. And the way that I decided that I wanted to make it was going to be a big blanket, and it's going to be over 2,500 squares. I have maybe 200 on there so far. It's been so long, but I've been saving all my leftovers, and then I even go further, it usually takes about 2.5, 3 grams to do those little mitered squares, and then I still end up with other little balls. And I went on a kick the other day, and I was getting all my little tiny leftovers, and anything that was 4 or 5 grams I set aside, because 4 or 5 grams I could do something with. Anything more than anything like, say, between 6 and 12 grams, I definitely set those aside, because I can use those for socks, for toes. But anything small, 3 grams or smaller, I stuck in a bag. And then I weighed it, and I'm like, you know what, there's about 50 grams here of random leftovers, and I think that would be enough to make a child-sized scarf. So I'm just color blocking it, just whenever a color ends, just adding another one in, even if it's in the middle of a row, and I'm doing seed stitch so that it lays flat. but it gives it a little bit of texture, and makes it a little bit fun. So you can see some of these balls are really tiny, some are bigger. I've just started this, and I'm just literally randomly picking balls out of the bag without even looking. Like I'm like this, not looking in the bag, so I can make sure it's completely random, because if I start thinking about it, I'm gonna give myself a headache. This one happens to be pink and red, and it's gonna be funky, it's gonna be weird. But I think I've mentioned it before, my local library in the winter has this Christmas tree that they put up, like right around after Thanksgiving. They put up this Christmas tree in the lobby of the library, and people can go in and donate winter items, winter accessories for children. And a lot of people buy the stuff, and that's fine. But myself and other people also donate handmade items. And I've donated hats and scarves before, so I thought I'll get started on something, and it's going to be scrappy, and hopefully somebody will love it. So that's what I'm doing with that. And then the one that I am super excited about, and I've been like working like crazy. I got on a kick to finally get back to this, and I worked all day yesterday, and I think I'm going to work all day today, and that should get me at least done with all the squares. This is my everyday granny square cardigan, and it calls for 42 squares and 2 triangles. So I haven't done the 2 triangles yet, and I have finished 36 squares. So I've got 6 squares and 2 triangles left to make, and I am super, super excited. This was all done with Hue Loco yarns that were left over from a shawl that I had made last year. And was it last year or the year before? I don't know. But they were leftover yarns, and I really liked how they all played together, so I decided to make a cardigan out of them. Now I am getting to the point where I'm having to supplement colors because I've already run out of a few, which is fine. I have other colors in the same type of yarn, because I think this was I can't remember. Most of these are Hue Loco. There is, now that I'm having a supplement, there is some Toad Hollow, but it's that the heavier fingering weight, that's 400 yards per 100 grams, and it's got the higher twist. I don't remember if it's a 75-25 or if it's the 80-20. Anyway, so so they're all the same base. There's, like I said, Hue Loco is 90% of this project, probably more like 95. And then I am introducing a little bit of Toad Hollow, but trying to keep it all within the same theme of these earthy greens and grays and beiges and oranges. I'm super excited. I have them all numbered, not because I need to number them, but because I know I'm going to want to lay them down, because none of these squares are the same, but some of them are quite similar. But if you were to actually go through and look at all of the different color combinations, you would see that they're all completely different. So I numbered them because there's this schematic here that I'm going to lay it all out on the floor, place the squares where I want them, and then once I find the placement that I want, I'll go through and put all of these numbers in there so that when I start sewing up, I know what goes where. And super, super excited. Now I know that I am not going to have enough of any one color, and I'm almost out of this. Like I said, I am supplementing some Toad Hollow, but I don't have enough of any other colors that are similar to this kind of vibe that I got going on to be able to do the sewing up. So what I am doing, because I'm holding 2 strands of fingering weight here, so it's kind of a worsted, a DK worsted weight. Now for sewing up, I can't decide if I'm going to do whip stitch or if I'm going to just slip stitch them. I haven't really decided, part of me kind of wants to go through and do a single crochet border around each one and then seam those together, but I'm not sure. I really have not decided yet. Anyway, I'm going to be using this that I got from Hobie. It's a mega ball of gray acrylic. Actually, I got 2 of these. I don't think I'll need both of them. Hope not. That's a lot of yarn. But it's 100% acrylic. I won't have to hold 2 together because it's already a worsted. And because these are super wash, I mean, it's okay that I feel like it's going to be okay to use this for the seaming. I'm going to be hand washing it anyway, so it's not going to be that big of a deal. I don't think that this is going to affect the overall outcome because it's acrylic and that's wool, but well, wool nylon blend. So I'm not too worried about that, and I'm being good and I'm not buying yarn. So I'm super excited. I have all of that ready to go. So definitely by next time I see you for a crafting video, I will have that done. Yay! That is all that I have right now for knitting and crochet and yarny goodness. I haven't done any cross stitch in a while. I really need to get back to that, but this isn't the time. So I will see you all next time. And thank you for coming and spending a little bit of time with me. I am gonna go put on some aloe vera. Even though I'm not nearly as burned as my daughter, I'm still gonna go put a little bit of aloe vera on just in case. We'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.